All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we have a Los Angeles Lakers video for you guys. They had a loss last night against the Sacramento Kings, but LeBron James made his return. However, the loss puts them in it's unideal, very unideal situation. Basically, now the Lakers are the 6th seed. And personally, I don't really think it matters what seed the Lakers are going into the playoffs. I really just don't think it matters whether the 8th seed, they could be the 10th seed, they could be the 11th seed right now, one game outside of the playing game, and I still just would not be worried about this team. So we'll see. The next game against the Lakers is Sunday against the Raptors, relatively late game, but I want to talk about the offseason for the Lakers because there's one guy specifically that I feel like every time I watch the Lakers, I feel like they could improve with KCP. Now, I've given KCP some tough love, especially around the trade deadline, because he was having a horrible run. It was just an absolutely brutal run. He was ice cold from three, and that is something that the Lakers really needed because Anthony Davis was out, LeBron James was out, Andre Drummond wasn't even here yet. And on the season, KCP's only averaging 9.5 points. I feel like just personally, he is done as a starter. Personally, I think he's done as a starter. So when you look at the Lakers team next year, they have a couple of guys under contract. They have Kyle Kuzma, Marc Gasol, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and KCP. I worry about KCP in big games. However, he has come up huge for them in big-time games. Specifically, last year's playoffs, he was just extremely underrated, in my opinion. And he was extremely clutch. He showed up when he had to, and he just helped contribute to a ring. So this year, I just see a little bit different with KCP shooting the ball-wise specifically. On the season, he is shooting about 4.5 threes per game. He's still knocking them at 41%, and that's going to get the job done for sure. So he's still a good, reliable three-point shooter for the most part. Yeah, he had a little bit of shouldn't say a little bit. He had a really long cold streak in the middle of this season, but for the most part, he's a reliable 3-and-D player. With that being said, under contract, he makes a little over $12 million per year. He's still 27 years old. I just think KCP is one of the best pieces that the Lakers have that they could offer a team and get reasonable compensation. You know, I mentioned the guys under contract, and when you dig into it, I mean, Anthony Davis isn't going to go anywhere. LeBron James isn't going to go anywhere. Marc Gasol is 36. Kyle Kuzma, you could definitely get compensation back for Kyle Kuzma. He's a great basketball player, but personally, I would rather hold on. I'm not even a Lakers fan. I would rather hold on to Kyle Kuzma. I think he has way more potential, clearly way more potential than KCP. It's a little bit more costly, but Kyle Kuzma, I would really only trade Kyle Kuzma in like a worst case situation, or if they're just really only a worst case situation where honestly maybe either his play next year isn't looking great or he's looking really good. He's averaging just like star numbers, and you want to get the most value you can. But Kyle Kuzma, I think you should hold on to, and KCP is definitely somebody you're gonna get value. A 27-year-old who has championship experience. I mean, this is super solid, super solid. So I'm really curious. I've done a ton of videos about the Los Angeles Lakers, and especially this offseason for the next year. If you enjoy this video, hit that like button, hit that sub button. There's been a ton of trade hypotheticals, off-season hypotheticals. Personally, I like Ben McLemore a lot more than KCP. I know Ben McLemore is a complete liability on defense, much unlike KCP, but especially with the emergence of guys like THT, you also got Caruso on the bench, you got Morris. You've got a lot of great defenders. I mean, the Lakers are a top 10 defensive team. They're an elite defensive team. So that's why I think you got to lock in Ben McLemore for at least 3 more years, maybe throw on a team option for that 3rd year, maybe even a 2-year deal, honestly, even a 1-year deal. But I think getting Ben McLemore, a one-year deal wouldn't even be bad. I think getting Ben McLemore would be much better. I think you could put him in as a starter. I think you could trade KCP. Ben averages about 38, 39% from three. He's not better than like Danny Green, I would say. But, I mean, defensively, I think Ben McLemore is much better than Danny Green. And then age-wise, Ben McLemore is way younger than Danny Green. So, Ben McLemore, when you have Ben McLemore, and I can see the downside is you don't want to have anybody on the court who is a defensive liability. The thing is, with this Lakers team, you have three elite powerhouse defenders. LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and then with the addition of Andre Drummond, if they can retain him and get him back next year, I mean, it's honestly that is an incredible defensive force. We'll see in the playoffs when everyone's at full strength. You'll see in the next couple of games when everyone's at full strength, this Lakers team is finally healthy. And they had some great defensive centers last season, JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard, but Andre Drummond is much better than even the combination of JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard. Andre Drummond is a two-time All-Star, averaging 17.5 points per game. He averages like 15.5, 13.5. Like, that's his career numbers. This dude is a defensive and offensive monster. So I think you could make up for Ben McLemore on defense, because it's not like he's a complete liability. I mean, after all, he did start on the Houston Rockets, or he has started on the Houston Rockets, especially with James Harden out there in those days. So let me know what you guys think about this. I think it makes total sense. I really do, because you want to get compensation for KCP. And even if you don't get like player compensation, you can get that salary. You could get some future draft picks. I mean, really, the whole world is your oyster trading away KCP. So it is a little bit sad, because obviously, he helped them last year. And if I'm a Laker fan, I would be very, you don't want to see anybody go, no matter who they are. Like, even watching the Rockets, you guys watch my Rockets videos. I mean, James Harden was forcing his way out, and it's happening. You still kind of want it to happen, but I mean, you really don't. So it'll be sad to see KCP go if they end up pulling the trigger. But personally, I just think his days as a starter are over. And at over $12 million a year off the bench, I think this is the last year you really can utilize KCP to the most. So hit that like button, hit that sub button. I'll see you guys later.